Hello friends, let's analyze an article by C.P. Chandrasekhar. The name of the article is India's conglomerates are getting too big for comfort. If you want to download this slide, the link can be found in the description. If you want to listen to this video in Hindi language, you can go to our another channel, that is prepezee. See, before we start with this article, it is important to analyze the differences between two terms. The first is inequality and second one is inequity. See, inequality refers to the biological differences, that is the natural differences which are given to someone by God. For example, if we talk about male and female, they are having certain biological differences in their anatomy. However, beyond that, any differences which are imposed upon them by the society, they are called as a social construct. And from that comes the concept of gender. That is, males, they are more hardened. They go into battles. They can fight in the combat roles. They can become doctors. And females, they are more suited to becoming teachers or nurses. This is what society says. It has nothing to do with reality. Similarly, males, they wear blue and females, they wear pink. This is what has been imposed upon them historically by the society, and this is not true. So these kind of differences which are artificially generated, they are called as inequity. Inequality is actually the differences which are natural. So in this context, now let us have a look at this article. See, the context is Hindenburg research which was released on Adani conglomerate. The report said that Adani, the report was published in January, and it said that the Adani group, it is doing certain practices which are not conducive to the market. It is being involved. It alleged that the Adani group is being involved in the fraudulent transactions. It is doing accounting frauds, and it is also involved in stock market manipulation. Now, after this report came, the stock markets initially they started crashing, and the prices of the stocks of Adani's, they also started to come down. However, later on we saw that these stocks they recovered, and Adani's also, they did not really face any much heat, and they went on with the business as usual. They did many acquisitions after that also. They did not face any dearth of capital in the market. Despite the report saying that they are over leveraged and they are having too much of debt which they might not be even able to pay if it is demanded just like now. Despite that, the financial markets lent them money and they went on. Similarly, let's take the case of Reliance. See, Reliance, when we talk about the telecom sector, Reliance Jio, it is now the dominant company in the market. Nobody except Airtel possibly is able to compete with Jio. Vodafone Idea, they merged and still they are not able to do anything. Similarly, let's talk about media. Reliance is now a dominant name in the media also. In fact, we talk about Jio Cinema, we see that tomorrow it is possible that it might become the dominant player in the media and entertainment market also. Recently, Reliance also demerged its financial services firm, and now it is also coming in the financial services market. So tomorrow the experts believe that in the financial services market also, this Reliance company will be holding a dominant position, and it might not, the other small companies might not even be able to survive. So we see that even the other companies like Tata's also, the Aditya Birla's also, they are thriving. There is no problem or no issues with their assets. However, not all is well with the Indian economy. For example, the small businesses, they are not growing very well. If we talk about the MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises, they are not growing very well. In fact, informal sector, it has not been able to recover from the stress which was caused to it due to the COVID-19. The lockdown which was imposed, it had led to so much of problems for the informal sector, and it has not been able to bounce back from that. And the author says that this arrest of growth, this problem, this is not just limited to the small businesses. It can also be seen in some big businesses. In fact, he even quotes the RBI report. The RBI report says that in 1991, the biggest five, that is the big five businesses in Indian economy, they were having 10% of assets. 10% of the total assets, they were there with the big five. In 2021, this number has now risen to 18%. But if we talk about the next five, their assets were earlier 18%, which have now fallen to 9%. So we see that their assets are falling and their assets are still rising. Now, when we talk about that, please understand that as an average consumer, I might not feel so much of a problem with that. Let the business collapse, what do I care? But this actually does have an impact on us. Because if there is only one dominant company in the market, if there is a monopoly in the market, then there will be no choice left for the consumer. The quality of services will fall, the cost of the services will increase, and we will feel the heat, the consumer. And therefore, this actually impacts us. Now, let us understand why this is happening. What are the reasons why inequity is rising in the market? The first thing is role of market. See, if we talk about Adam Smith, who is called as father of economics, he has given the concept of invisible hand. What is invisible hand? Invisible hand says that the markets, they have the capacity to equalize themselves. They can think of what is the best for everyone. How? See, let's see. Let us understand by assuming that this product is X. Now X product, it is having, let's say its price is 100 rupees. Now it is having a huge demand in the market, and its supply is not able to match the demand. So what will happen? If demand is more and supply is less, the prices of the product will increase. They will go on to, let's say, 200 rupees. Now 200 rupees is too much. Not everyone can buy it now. So the consumers, they will stop consuming this commodity. Some of the consumers who are not able to buy, the poorer of this lot, they will not be able to buy it. Just think of tomato as an example as of now. The prices of tomato, 20 rupees per kg. But now they have risen to 200 rupees. So what will happen? Many of us, they have now decreased the quantity used, or they have stopped altogether using the tomato. So what will happen? Now, since a large section is not consuming tomato anymore, what will happen? The prices again will start falling down, and they will keep coming down. Let's say they fall down to 10 rupees. Now again, another section will come. This section who had left consuming tomato, they will again start consuming tomato, and the prices will increase, and this cycle will keep going on till the time we have an accurate prices of tomato. So this is how the market functions. Through its forces of demand and supply, the market defines the absolute actual price of a commodity. However, the author says that this is not happening as of now. If we talk about today the market is favoring the asset rich. That is the people who are rich. Why? See, asset rich, they are having more capital. If they have more capital, they can establish more industry. If they establish more industry, they earn more profit. If they earn more profit, they get more assets and they get more richer. So this is happening, and when this process keeps on repeating like this, what will happen? There will be a concentration of resources or capital in a few hands. There will be a centralization where all the power will be vested in this particular person whose assets are rising. And therefore, in order to break this circle, there is a need for a power. And what is the power? In India, that power is state, which has the authority and which has the means to break this cycle. How does it break it? Through its authorities. For example, CCI. What is CCI? It is Competition Commission of India. Now, Competition Commission of India, its mandate is to see to it that no one is able to abuse their dominant position in the market. If you have a monopoly, you do not have a right to crush the small businesses. You might be a big player, but then again, if someone else wants to start their business, they can do so. And that is what CCI looks at. See, if you want to have a look at an example, go to China. See, Jack Ma, you might have heard the name. He is the founder of Alibaba, and in fact, he was one of the biggest businessmen in China. And by that power, the power of that business, the power of money made him speak ill about the Chinese authorities. He started to say that the financial markets are not doing well, they are not good, like that. And Chinese state, it does not listen to those things. It's not a democracy. So what it did? In fact, Jack Ma disappeared for the 3 years. For 3 years, he was nowhere to be seen. Recently only we saw him in some countries like Singapore and somewhere else. So this is what the power of state is. You cannot fight with the state. Now, if we talk about civil society. Civil society, see, civil society does have some power. Media, it can publish reports. NGOs, they also have this capacity. They can do these things. But then again, they have very limited capacity. It is only the state which can do anything. The state has the power to stop the market or big businesses from growing. And in fact, that is what happened. See, initially, we were a socialism. We were a socialist company. We embraced socialism. And by the turn, when 19th century, it was over and 20th century was starting, there was this concept of communism and socialism which was growing very fast. Soviet Union was growing. Capitalism was passé. It was gone back. So at this time we see that India said that no, we don't want monopolies. The Indian state, it went on to nationalize big businesses also. So that is how we began. However, later on, 1991, LPG reforms, the state now started actually supporting business. We wanted that the private capital grows and state started supporting business. And from then on, what is happening is that the distance between state and business, it is now narrowing down. We see that now the name of conglomerates like Adani, they are now attached to these big political parties. Similarly, the names of Anil Ambani, it was attached to another big political party. So now we are seeing a difference which is narrowing between state and the businesses. And that is why when we say that the state only has this capacity to stop the big business from dominating everyone's and consuming everything, it is now not anymore possible. Because state is colluding with the big business. And therefore, we see that right now, if we say that the state can stop the market or the big businesses, that is not possible. And why? Why the state is not able to stop this big business from growing? See, this is because of 3 major reasons, 3 major trends. First is neoliberalism. What is neoliberalism? See, initially there was liberalism. Liberalism is majorly associated with capitalism. What does this mean? Initially, what happened was that we see that US, it is a capitalist country. So in that capitalist country, businesses were favored. It was said that state had no role in the society except to maintain law and order. And some other things like enforcing the contract, being the night watchman, that is seeing to it that law and order is being followed and everyone is behaving how they are supposed to do. It was supposed that it was expected that in due time what will happen is that the profits, they will trickle down to the poor also. And that is what we also started believing initially. India as a state, trickle down theory. That as the big businesses grow, the profits, they will trickle down to the poor, their wages will increase and they will also live a prosperous life. However, this did not happen. We saw that this did not happen. The poor were getting exploited. They did not have good working conditions. They did not get Sunday as a holiday. They were working for 16 hours every day. They were being exploited. Their wages were meager. They could only survive. So therefore, then came socialism. In socialism, what happened? In socialism, the state used to say that no need to worry. You just work whatever you want to work. We will tell you what you need to work. And whatever your needs, I will fulfill it. I am there. There is no need to worry. So in fact, the slogan of socialism at that time was from each according to his capacity and to each according to his needs. That is, you work according to your capacity, I will provide to you according to your needs. Everyone will be getting a house, everyone will be getting clothes, everyone will be getting a tour, everyone will be getting food. However, this thing also did not survive. Why? Because there was no merit. There was no need to work hard. Why would I work hard when I will be getting whatever I need anyway? And why would I work hard if anyway I would not be getting anything, because there are no resources with the state. State is having just the bare minimum to give food to everyone and to make enough arms and ammunitions to fight with the capitalist countries. So again, socialism also faltered, and then came the concept of neoliberalism. What is neoliberalism? Neoliberalism says that state needs to support the business, the private entities. If the state supports the private entities, what will happen? Again, this will lead to, what will this lead to? This will lead to more money to the poor. And again, the economy will grow. The economy will grow, people will be getting more employment, jobs will be there, education will be there, everything would be there. And when we started, in fact, recently also we can see this example, that when we started, this thing was there. We saw that actually some kind of business, some kind of competition was actually there. For example, just see the concept of telecom sector. Just see this example. We saw there was this Vodafone, there was Airtel, there was Idea, there was Uninor, there was BSNL, there was MTNL, there was so many companies to choose from, so many new offers which I could choose from. Similarly, when we talk about, let's say, the e-commerce, in e-commerce also we saw Flipkart, Amazon, Snapdeal, Home Shop 18, so many companies are there to choose from. Food delivery, you talk about food delivery, Swiggy, Zomato, we saw Food Panda, we saw Uber Eats, so many companies. But later on, now we see that initially whatever competition might have been there, now nothing of that competition exists. Now all of these sectors, they have just become duopoly. Telecom, only Airtel and Jio have survived. E-commerce, only Flipkart and Amazon have survived. Food delivery, only Swiggy and Zomato have survived. No one else is actually there to compete with them. And now who is the loser? These companies are the loser. No, actually the consumer is the loser. Now see, initially we saw that Flipkart is giving 50% discount on mobile phones. Nowadays there is no discount. They are even charging the delivery prices extra. There are conveniences. You don't need to go to the market. You can return the product after 10 days also, even if you break it afterwards also. So these things, conveniences are there, but ultimately we see that the choice of the consumer is going down, and it is the consumer who is the loser. And this is what actually is neoliberalism. This is the first reason why we are saying that now the state is unable to fight, because no one is there. The competition is not able to survive. Second, the state support. Now, see, the experts, they have said that the state needs to support the big business. Why? The state needs to support because our business is supposed to fight competition in the international market also. For example, see, my companies, like even Flipkart, you say, we have to make them strong so that they can fight competition from Amazon in the international market. They could not do it. Walmart had to take over Flipkart. Similarly, let's say the position of Google. I make a search engine. I cannot do anything about it. What can I do? Everyone is using Google. Let's take the example of Microsoft. Windows, everyone is using. And I don't see any competition. See, only Apple is making the Macintosh operating system. Other than that, only open sources of operating systems are being used. No other company is making operating system. Why? Because no one is able to compete. It's not that people have not tried. They have made operating systems, but they could not compete with Microsoft. It is having too deep pockets. It does not even need to sell its Windows. It does not really care if you are getting pirated Windows also, because ultimately you are learning to use Windows, and when you go to your job you will demand Windows, which will have to purchase it. So ultimately what is happening is that state is trying to give support to the companies so that they can fight in the international market. They are unable to do so. They are not able to fight it, and that is why state needs to continue to give this support. And that is why state is not able to stop this big business from thriving. And third, and the most important reason, election management. This is a very polite term for what we can say is the use of money in elections. If any political party wants to fight elections, it needs money. It needs to distribute money. It needs to distribute other goods. It needs to print pamphlets. It needs cars. It needs petrols. It needs buses. Everything is required, and therefore money is required. And from where the money will come? Money will come from these big businesses. You see that these businesses, they actually give money. They give donations to the political parties. We see the electoral bond scheme. The ruling party is getting money, the opposition parties are getting money, although they are complaining that ruling party is getting more money. But tomorrow when they become the ruling party, they will be getting more money. So the electoral bond scheme shows to us that the big business is paying these political parties. And that is why state has no interest in stopping the business from growing and consuming the opposition. By opposition, I mean the opposition, that business opposition. The smaller business. So what is the basic outcome from that? It is that now we see that the author says that of very few business groups, just like Adani, he alleges that such business groups, they are now being actively favored and supported by the state. He says that generally what would have happened, the expectation was that the smaller business, they will say something, they will register their dissent. The ignored entities, that is the big business, but who are being ignored, they are not getting anything, they will also dissent. But what is happening? In the name of national interest, no one is allowed to dissent. And therefore, this business is now thriving. No one is allowed to dissent to the political policies. And therefore, what is happening is there is no correction is taking place. So therefore, we see the centralization is growing, and it is growing very fast. And what is the outcome? What are the issues due to centralization? See, first of all, centralization is a vicious cycle. That is, as I told you, rich, they have more money. So therefore, they invest more money in industry and they get more profit. And they get more rich, and this cycle continues on repeating. Similarly, when they do it, they abuse their dominant position in the market. If only Jio is left, what is stopping Jio from just keeping their prices 5,000 rupees per month? No one will be able to stop them if there is no competition in the market. They can manipulate the cost and the prices as they want it. And I'm not just talking about Jio, I'm talking about any monopoly. Similarly, now big business, if it is in a dominant position, it will start abusing the institutions of democracy. Even the media will not be free. You have seen recently, there was this, in fact, a big business. It brought a very big business house, the news house. And when news houses are bought and sold, what is happening? If they are bought and sold, they will not be able to report fairly. They cannot criticize their own parent company, right? So now media will be captured. Civil society, it cannot say anything. Where will it say? If there is no newspaper to say, where will it say? Where will it put forward its views? And ultimately what will happen is, big business, they will start to exert their influence on political processes. They will start to interfere in the formulation of policy. They will tell the government, we want this. You decrease the interest rates. We don't want to pay too high interest rates. We need capital and we need it cheap. That is the only way through which we can expand. Ultimately, the author uses this term, that is state capture. That is, that there is the tendency of state capture, that state is now being captured by the business itself, and then you start saying that the business is running the state, that business is running the government. So this is what is the article, and this is what the article says. This is a very good article, and it will be useful for you in your essay writing as well as in your economy portion. So please study it very carefully. If you want us to cover any more articles, please let us know. If you want us to cover any other kind of topic, please let us know. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.